Black Philadelphia is turning red as it seems like Black Chicago. This hasn't always been the case in the city of brotherly love. Most people, as we know in the Black community, vote blue no matter who, but things are changing and things are getting a little different there. It's not as bad as New York City or Chicago, but people are seeing changes. Biomics, as you will see here in this particular graph, you can see the prices of food and everything going up, and also with concerns about crime in the city that have never been met, and all of this being under Democratic rule, Blacks are looking for another option in Black Philadelphia. And we're gonna review a few of these things ourselves to see how Blacks in Philadelphia feel about voting for Kamala Harris.
What are your feelings, and let me start with the women here, about Kamala Harris?
She's a woman of color. I'm not putting her down because of that, and I'm not putting her down because she's a woman. I'm not a feminist, so I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, I don't think that she has the personality. I don't think that she has what it takes to go up against Putin and go up against these other presidents that are built for this. I don't want to be scared because my president is scared. I want my president to feel secure.
And a lot of this has to do with Kamala Harris fumbling the bag on certain appearances. Like when she's asked questions on Oprah Winfrey, tough questions, she seems to shy away from such questions, and she looks really silly. So when you're looking at a presidential candidate that doesn't know what she's talking about, or can't really respond, or is trying to find the cookie cutter method to answer to everything, it makes voters believe that you don't know what you're doing. In comparison to Donald Trump, it might not be the answer you want to hear, but it's confident, right? And he stands on what he's trying to say. Whereas Kamala Harris is kind of looking for an answer from someone else because she's kind of just been thrusted out there. And nobody believes that Kamala Harris would have ever been able to run for president by herself and ever stand a winning chance. No one will vote for her.
And manly and about it.
We brought up gender, right? Like, do you think it matters that she's a woman and people aren't comfortable having a woman in a top leadership role?
No, I don't think that, because most men, they love their mothers. They love their wives. So as a woman, most men, they respect the woman, but she just don't have the qualification or the education to really run America.
So this is a woman, and I believe she's talking about the Black community. Are Black men so misogynistic? And the answer is, a lot of misogyny can happen in any male community, just like misandry can happen. But they're saying is, do you feel like because she's a woman that Black men wouldn't vote for her? And that's not the case. Now, she says, does she have the education to run the country? I disagree there, because she definitely does. She's a lawyer. And most presidents, at least half of them, have been law school graduates. So I disagree with her there. But to understand what's going on and have the mental fortitude to run the country, she may not have it. And I'm glad that she's answering this, because so many Black men have been called out for being misogynistic and don't want to see a Black woman become the president, when in actuality, Black women run the Black community. A lot of us as Black men have seen Black women, be pastors and, be CEOs and be politicians. We're not new to this.
Because she don't have the experience. She don't understand our struggles. And for me to believe you for another 4 years, you're crazy.
Right.
Like, you're crazy. You're saying the same thing that you said 4 years ago.
So the fact that she's the vice president
That's
to
just
you
the
is
bottom.
The same thing you said 4 years ago. And I'm talking about for the Black community not being strong on reparations, okay? Not really coming out with a Black agenda, not including the African American community in these certain agendas, but trying to make it an agenda for everyone, while at the same time you have agendas for the LGBTQ, you have agendas for Asians and Hispanics, but you don't have an agenda really for Black men that's strong. You want to include Black people in with everybody else, and that's the problem.
You're like, you've been here, you've had a chance.
Yes. Well, for me, the very first time I ever heard the name Kamala Harris, it was in association to locking up parents for a truancy. That was the first time I ever heard of her name. And I really didn't understand how this person claims to be a Black woman, but yet she's locking up Black women and Black men and separating families.
This is a thing that is...
Whoa. It's a good point. Although some of y'all kids are bad, though.
That is, Trump talks about this a lot. He says, you know, Kamala Harris became black when it was convenient.
Right. Yeah.
Can you talk to me about, do you agree with him on that? Do you feel like she's wearing her blackness?
Absolutely. when she's sworn to the Senate, it was as the first Indian American.
Thank you.
Which is, it's fine. We don't care.
We all know she's not black. Let's understand that. We are all clear of that. But my point of view, and like I told you earlier, she's already been there. She's in office right now.
Boom. Great point. You're the first Indian American in the Senate. Now you want to be black. And as African Americans, we can look at her, and obviously, she has some African DNA. We can understand that. But the experience of being black, she's not that. She might have went to Howard University, but again, you want to cosplay and jump sides whenever you feel like it. So we feel like, hey, if you're gonna be Indian, get the Indian vote. You know, this is what you are. You're not us, and that's actually true.
I believe Trump is going to win because, first off, when people say bad things about him, where does that affect us down here? That doesn't affect our neighborhoods. It has never affected our neighborhoods. We don't even get to see half the things that go on that level.
This is a good point, okay? I think at first, with a lot of African Americans, I come from a black community called Del Paso Heights in Sacramento. And when we would talk about people in the government, let's say, for example, when John McCain was running for president, and you were hearing things about him, and you would make your voting decision based on that. But in your communities, Republicans are not the reason why things are bad, okay? You have low resources, you know, you don't have a lot of mentorship available, you don't have things that you need to progress to go on to the level of business. Now, don't get me wrong, there are resources in American cities that can help you do that. But when you are at the bottom, you need a little bit more help. And it doesn't affect you day to day like you think when you're suffering from maybe, you know, you have the crack addiction in your neighborhoods. Like when I was coming up, you got gang violence. Like these are things you're seeing every day. You're not seeing McCain or Trump. That don't affect your everyday life.
Know that he's going to win because he is the best for America. He's worried about our economy.
The crime is high. The violence is high. The schools are bad. We can go on and on. Where Democrats have been in charge for 40 years.
We're voting for Donald Trump unequivocally.
Shout out to the brother. I don't know where he was from, but Democrats been in charge for 40 years, especially in your black cities like Chicago and Philadelphia. Those are large black cities with violence out of control. And what has happened? What are the policies that change that? It's never been there.
Period. No one else is going to persuade us. We 2 weeks out, and we won't sleep until November the 6th.
So you know who you're voting for?
Yes, I'm voting for Trump, definitely.
Tell me why.
He's more strong-minded in a way. He's focused on what we got to focus on. Like, he doesn't play. That's what I respect about him.
He doesn't play?
Yeah, he doesn't play. He always just stands for what he believes, and he doesn't go back. No matter how many people are bashing him, no matter people is criticizing him, nothing.
He doesn't take BS.
I think I talked about this in another video where Kamala Harris seems to be too cookie cutterish vibe, trying to make the right decision and basically can't answer tough questions, where Donald Trump, to this voter, when you need a tough decision and you want somebody to make the tough decision, it's almost like somebody taking the last shot. This voter seems that, hey, this is what she should do because he's strong-minded and strong-willed. I want a president in a tough decision. He can make a decision and stand on it. Whereas somebody like Kamala Harris doesn't seem like she's built like that. And again, this is the Democratic Party's fault, not having her prepared for these situations where she would be on public television answering tough questions, and she just can't do it. And so it creates doubt in the minds of voters.
He's a businessman. He's not there for the fluff talk of politics. We need someone strong. We need someone who's going to get down to business and take care of what this country needs, but also understands what the community needs.
The thing is, we were scared in the beginning because he said he's going to nuke Korea and he's going to nuke Iran, but he didn't do that. The stock market went up. There were more.
Pretty high right now too.
Well, but the thing is, because there was no inflation back then. Democrats take granted, especially minorities. they take for granted because they think Republicans are so out of touch with the minorities' needs, so they don't have any choice. And I think that's going to be a big surprise.
You got pockets that there's an energy for Mr. Trump in the city, but a lot of people just walking down the street, they not feeling the Democrats from time to time, not sure if they're going to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
They may not vote at all. The black men that don't.
So this is another thing too, right? A lot of blacks might not vote at all. That's a very, 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 very big possibility. We saw that also in 2016, where a lot of people didn't want to vote for Trump. They didn't want to vote for Hillary Clinton.
And that don't vote for Democrats is not what Mr. Trump did, is what have you been disappointed with. I'm not a dedicated Republican. I'm voting for the lesser two evils this time, being Mr. Donald Trump.
So in this clip, also, they're going to ask black men, I believe, in Philadelphia, how did they feel about Barack Obama talking down to them?
And I just wonder for anybody who heard that, like what they thought of that.
I was deeply offended. I was deeply offended. And it felt like a moment where it's like, you N-words better get in line and do what we say. And it felt like him as the czar of the Democratic Party coming down to say, go get these N-words in line. And the general...
Yeah. And again, one thing that all men need, especially black men who have been lacking this particular word, respect, must receive. Men have to get their respect. It's worth more than money, gold. It's something that we thrive off of. If a man cannot get his respect, that's the problem.
And the general tone of it was disgusting. It was abhorrent. I don't respect it. I didn't like nothing about it. And Kamala, 2 days after that, is like, we love our black men. We have programs and things that we're rolling out for them, and she rolled out policy.
Good cop, bad cop. You know, because
I'm tired of the good cop, bad cop. I'm tired of it.
As you can see, like Black Chicago, Black Philadelphia is starting to go red. And I believe you're gonna see this battle in the inner city for blacks and other groups who are there changing their minds, wanting to see changes in their cities. A lot of people are dying. We know. It doesn't shock me that two of the biggest hotbeds for drill rap are in Democratic strongholds, Chicago and Philadelphia. But we're gonna see what's gonna happen, guys. So what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back with another episode of Fair Use. I'm out.